Hey YouTube, how's it going? I'm back with another skill challenge video. This time it's the UFC Vault UFC 200 challenge. At the time of making the video, only the normal difficulty is available, and I don't know if they're gonna update it with hard or insane difficulty. If so, I might record another video for them in the future, but nevertheless I think a few of these methods shown here can be useful for harder difficulties as well. Anyway, if you're interested in future skill challenge videos, make sure you subscribe. I think these challenges are not so hard, but they can be tricky because your fighter is preset, you cannot choose who you want to fight with, and in addition you have to meet certain criteria like minimum chemistry level or minimum number of items. By the way, I'm pretty sure that there are better and easier methods to beat these challenges. If you happen to know one, let me know in the comments. So the first challenge, knock down Miesha Tate and submit her. Maybe this is the most difficult of them all, but not so hard given the normal difficulty. So make sure you satisfy the requirements regarding chemistry and items, and then let's see the stats. Regarding striking, bump up your speed and power in order to be able to knock down Tate as soon as possible. Regarding grappling, make sure you equip at least one submission, ideally from top position. Other than that, bump up your top game. Regarding boost, increase your grappling stamina and endurance, and finally regarding perks, crushing presence and tap already. And now let's see the fight. In order to knock down Tate, you should throw combinations. Jab followed up with hooks or with a hook and an uppercut, etc. For me, combinations ending with an uppercut work the best. As you can see, I managed to knock her down with an uppercut quite soon in the match. Alternatively, you can go to tie clinch and throw knees and elbows. Now take her down to the ground, and if you are not a submission specialist and generally have a hard time submitting opponents, then you should spend at least 2 or 3 rounds on the ground on top of her, denying her transition attempts, because with this you deplete her long-term stamina and you'll have a much easier time submitting her. If you think her stamina is low enough, transition to submission position, deny 1 or 2 transition attempts in order to deplete the stamina 0, and submit her.
It looks like this submission's locked. Oh, we're getting a finish here. And this might just be a matter of time. And that will do it!
The second challenge against Amanda Nunes, win the fight with KO, TKO and hold side control for 30 seconds. Let's see the stats. Regarding striking, it doesn't really matter, I put everything for power, maybe it will be helpful for the ground and pound. Regarding grappling, have your top game as high as possible, beside that I bumped up my takedown. Regarding boost, well, toughness is mandatory, but beside that you should equip endurance and grappling stamina cards. As for perks, crushing presence and ground and pound. And now let's see the fight. Take Nunes down as soon as possible, transition to side control and keep her there. Here you can see how to deny the different transition attempts.
Side control again. Target there, that'll work.
If you think you are over 30 seconds, finish her with elbows.
Nunes' eye. She's out! She's out! Wow! She's out cold! Wow! And here's the end. We get the official decision.
The next challenge is against Cormier, and the objectives are win the fight with KO, TKO and land at least 3 strikes to the body with your foot or shin. As for striking, bump up your speed. Regarding which body kick you should use, I like to use body side kick because even if Cormier blocks it, he cannot shoot for the takedown immediately as you push him back with the kick. Regarding grappling, you have to have your bottom game at least 80, so not much room for variety here. As for boosts, make sure you have high striking stamina and endurance, maybe you can increase your grappling stamina as well in case Cormier takes you down. And finally perks, anything which more likely stuns the opponent, here I didn't equip any card though. Now let's see the fight. The jab body sidekick combination worked for me quite well, but I think the jab body roundhouse would work just as well because of the normal difficulty. Once you landed at least 3 body kicks, try to KO him with combinations. Throw a lot of uppercuts because Cormier wants to take you down quite often, and on one hand uppercuts stop the takedown attempt, and on the other hand they usually stun the opponent. The next challenge is against Anderson Silva, and the objectives: win the fight with KO TKO and land 5 strikes from dominant half guard. There is a typo there. Regarding striking, I increased power, it might be useful for the ground and pound. Regarding grappling, make sure your tap game is as high as possible. Beside that, I would increase my takedown attribute. As for boosts and perks, grappling stamina, endurance, crushing presence and ground and pound. And now let's see the fight. This one's gonna be quick. Shoot for the takedown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just in case. Transition to side control and finish the fight with elbows.
Ground and pound tonight, another elbow to the head.
Well, on insane difficulty I might have needed to deny a few transition attempts and deplete his stamina, but on normal difficulty it's quite easy. The next challenge is against José Aldo. Win the fight with KO TKO and land at least 10 strikes to the leg with your foot or shin. Regarding striking, increase your speed as much as you can. Regarding grappling, as we're gonna finish the fight on the ground, make sure your tap game and takedown are as high as possible. Regarding boosts, I mixed it up a little bit here, endurance and grappling stamina as usual, but I increased my striking stamina as well, and also make sure you bump up your legs, because Aldo is going to check your leg kicks a lot. As for perks, carved off wood will give you additional leg health during limping. Beside this, if you wanna TKO him with leg kicks, on normal difficulty it's not so hard, then you might want to use attack the base and 3 chopper perks as well. Now let's see the fight. As it's normal difficulty you should really just throw leg kicks, maybe in basic combinations like setting up the kick with a jab or a straight punch. And make sure you use both of your legs in case Aldo checks the kicks.
Been any better with it than he is here tonight. Visibly now his opponent has started to slow down.
Absolutely.
Edgar gets hit with that hook. He's got to be careful here.
As I mentioned before, if you're good enough you can TKO Aldo with leg kicks, but if you wanna make it quick, then once you land 10 clean leg kicks, shoot for the takedown, transition to side control, deplete his stamina if you have to, and finish him with elbows.
So the first takedown attempt of the night comes from Frankie Edgar, and he gets it.
That's a clean left hand. Passes from half guard, now into side control.
Aldo gets caught by that elbow. It doesn't look like there's a cut, but he'd be wise to get those hands up.
Oh, he's out cold.
That'll do it! Special performance by Frankie Edgar here.
The challenge against Frankie Edgar: win the fight with KO TKO and don't allow Frankie to land more than 15 strikes to your head with his fist. Even though José Aldo is a striker, we're gonna finish the fight on the ground. It's safer, I think. So regarding striking, make sure you meet the requirements for footwork and then you can choose whatever you'd like to. Regarding grappling, make sure your tap game is high, 80 something will work well, and make sure you equip at least 1 takedown, ideally single leg. As for boosts, endurance and grappling stamina. As for perks, crushing presence, ground and pound and force of nature. Now let's see the fight. Protect your head and try to take him down as soon as possible. Most probably he's gonna try to take you down as well, so make sure you defend these attempts because you don't wanna be on the bottom, as our bottom game attribute is quite low. Once you are on the ground, it's relatively easy. Transition to side control, and if you can't finish the fight right away, deny his transition attempts as much as you can and finish the fight with ground and pound. Side control, back mount and full mount are all good position for this.
Both hooks in.
And busy as he looks to improve position here.
Into side control again.
Oh, elbow up top by Aldo.
He's landed. Unbelievable.
That's it.
Win the fight with KO TKO, and the others don't really matter, just make sure your chin is solid. So initially I wanted to finish this fight on the ground, but for some reason after 3 ground TKOs the game still didn't recognize my win as a TKO victory. It must have been a bug or something. Anyway, here you can see my stats for the ground game strategy. Hopefully it will work for you. For striking, speed and power, eventually this came in handy for the 4th try when I decided to stay on my feet. For grappling, you should have as high top game as possible. As for boosts, chin is mandatory, beside this endurance and grappling stamina. And finally perks, weathering storm and wake up call, just in case. As I mentioned before, the optimal strategy would have been to take him down, deplete his stamina and ground and pound him. And I did it 3 times, but the game wouldn't recognize them as TKO victories. So here you can see some stand-up striking game. On normal difficulty it's not so hard, just throw combinations like a jab followed up by uppercuts or hooks. Uppercuts work quite well here because Velasquez wants to take you down quite often, and on one hand they will stop the takedown attempt and on the other hand they will most likely stun him. Anyway, I was just throwing hooks here.
That is a big hook. We'll see if he can follow it up. And now start. He hurt him again. Oh, he's on. That's gonna do it.
The next challenge, win the fight with KO TKO and land at least 3 strikes with your fist in dominant cage over-under. Your striking doesn't really matter here, maybe only for the KO TKO part, so I just maxed out speed and power. As for grappling, I tried to increase clinch control as much as I could, and if you have an over-under clinch card it really comes in handy here, as you can clinch to over-under right away. Regarding boosts, grappling stamina and endurance, and finally perks, grinder and tie terror for the clinch battle. Initially I wanted to finish the fight in tie clinch, but ended up throwing hooks. Now let's see the fight. There are 2 relatively easy methods to go to cage clinch. One is to back up to the cage, wait for the opponent, go to clinch, back up to the cage again in clinch position, and then reverse the clinch. But on normal difficulty I found it much easier just to be aggressive. Push him to the cage, stun him if possible, and then go for the clinch. If you have over-under clinch card, you can go to over-under right away. If not, you need to transition to this position. Now here you can't just throw punches, because in this case you're gonna shoulder his head. You have to punch his body, so make sure you hold L2. After 3 strikes you can transition to tie clinch or take him down to the ground or finish him however you want.
He's doing a great job of moving and transitioning here on the ground.
Nice punch there by Browne. Well, I know he's confident in his chin, Joe, but he left his head wide open for that returning hook there. It would be wise to start moving his feet, get on the tips of his toes, and figure out a way to get that head off the center line and out of harm's way. And he connects with the punch there. Both fighters throwing heat now. Oh!
That hurt him. Big shots!
Oh, that's a big right hand. Well, he's a little wobbly on his feet.
Now the challenge against Hendricks. Win the fight with KO TKO and land 10 punches. This is quite easy. For striking, speed and power. And for grappling, takedown defense. If you wanna finish the fight on the ground in side control, then increase your top game. But now we're gonna finish the fight standing. Regarding boosts, striking stamina is mandatory. Beside that, I will go for endurance and chin. As for perks, opportunist and laser focus for the striking game. Now let's see the fight. I think you won't have any problem here. Mix up your game, head, body, body, head, don't be too predictable, and then finish the fight with combinations.
Nice. Dropping down, looking for a single.
Gastelum gets up and somewhat surprisingly, despite having a dominant position on the ground, he wants to take this fight back to the field.
Kelvin cracked him there. Shoots in for the takedown.
Gastelum gets back up. That did not take long, Joe.
Both men landing in that exchange.
Establishing the jab here.
Very good exchanges here. Excellent takedown defense.
Pretty strong jab there by Gastelum. Yeah, looks a little wobbly on his feet.
Hendricks is in trouble. by Kelvin Gastelum.
And the last challenge against Gastelum. Win the fight with KO/TKO, land at least one strike to your opponent's head with your fist and hold dominant half guard for 30 seconds. Regarding striking, make sure your head movement is above 80, it's a mandatory requirement. Regarding grappling, increase your top game and takedown as much as you can. Regarding boosts, grappling stamina and endurance as always for the ground game, and finally perks, crushing presence and ground and pound. Let's see the fight. Take him down as soon as possible, ideally with a single leg, and deny the transition attempts in half guard. Here is how.
Big Rig gets the early takedown. That did not take long.
Once you held him for more than 30 seconds, you can finish the fight on the ground. Side control, full mount and back mount are all good positions for this. That's it for today guys, thanks a lot for watching, and if you found the tips useful, please hit the like button, it really does help me out a lot. Also, if you are interested in other skill challenge videos, make sure you subscribe. Thanks a lot again, and see you next time.
Full mount. He postures into place.
Splits the guard and connects with the punch.
He's getting off some very nice ground and pound. He's out! He's out! And here's the end.
All right, here, one.
have to eat the dream. You have to sleep the dream. You have to dream the dream. You got to touch